In Luke's gospel today, Jesus is inviting us to a life of authentic prayer. The life of the church through prayer and liturgy, the precepts of the church, the commandments, sacraments, sacramentals, all of it are finally meant to conform us to a way of love in order to get to heaven. Because our goal in life should be to get to heaven. There are clearly obstacles to our goal, though, because we relate to the world through our own desires and our own egos. The entire point of our faith is to humble us before God and open us up to this path of love. When we turn away from the path that the church gives us, we devolve into prideful people focused on our own prosperity. Jesus' famous parable about the prayer of the Pharisee versus that of the tax collector from today's gospel illustrates precisely this danger of co-opting religion for the purposes of our own ego. Similarly, St. Paul speaks of the dangers of the law, which is using the law as a weapon of aggression. Because a favorite indoor pastime of humanity is to point out the shortcomings of others, like the Pharisee did in the gospel, by degrading them in an attempt to elevate oneself. But before we go too far afield, let's return to our discussion of getting to heaven. Heaven is described as the beatific vision, which is the good, the true, and the beautiful. Good with a capital G, truth with a capital T, and you get the rest. If we're really honest with ourselves, the best moments in life are when we break through our own egos and personal desires and see things as they're truly meant to be seen. When we actually forget about ourselves and see the world as it is. There are ways that this happens in our life, so let's begin with beauty. When we see nature in all its glory, like a beautiful sunrise or sunset, or the mountains or the ocean, we don't notice ourselves, we notice the grandeur of God. Similarly, when we view real art in all its beauty, like Michelangelo's Pieta, we don't see ourselves any longer. The second being the good. The best example is real acts of love and compassion, when what we do is for the other, not ourselves. Because this is as God sees love, because he wants the best for all of us. Think about it. God has ventured into the depths of God-forsakenness by becoming human in Jesus Christ and humbling himself to crucifixion to redeem our broken humanity, and through his resurrection, revealing what we all can become. The same is true when we show acts of love to others, especially when others are not capable of returning the favor, such as caring for the imprisoned, the sick, the orphaned, the poor, and the dying. When we do it out of love, we lose sight of ourselves. Francis Cardinal George had a beautiful saying that summarizes this. The only things we take to heaven are the things that we gave away in life. Third, and finally, is truth with a capital T. This is prayer. This is breaking through our egos and turning to the source of truth, where we find the answers to our questions, which is God. And unlike the Pharisee in the gospel who makes a mockery of prayer by praying to himself, The tax collector is actually praying to God. Jesus is actually playing with the irony of the tax collector because at the time, he was seen as the bad guy. And he knew how to pray better than even a Pharisee. So you may ask, how do we apply all of this to ourselves? And the answer is quite simple. We need to ask ourselves some tough questions and answer honestly. This is known as an examination of conscience. And one question would be, when have I used my knowledge to bring down others rather than to help them and lift them up? This is a wicked game of self-inflating our own egos by using knowledge to attack someone else and use knowledge as a weapon. But what we're called to do is use our knowledge and reason to examine ourselves. For example, when was the last time you felt humbled before God? Let me close on a positive note. There's a book known as The Way of the Pilgrim, and it teaches us how to pray the Jesus Prayer. The Jesus Prayer was taken from the words of the tax collector in our gospel today. In fact, many Eastern branches of the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church pray this prayer as a mantra all day long. The prayer allows us to humble ourselves before God and recognize we're not God, only God is God. The prayer is very short, and it goes something like this. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. There's a few variations of this Jesus prayer, and I encourage you to pick the one that fits you best, and then memorize it. And when you get overwhelmed or anxious or sad, like I have, this prayer, when truly joined with Jesus, can bring us all back to a place of authentic peace. A place of peace in Jesus Christ that exceeds our human understanding. In the book, The Way of the Pilgrim, it encourages you to breathe in deeply during the first part of the prayer. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God. And then in the second part of the prayer, it encourages you to breathe out deeply. Have mercy on me, a sinner. In essence, we're breathing in the goodness of Jesus Christ and breathing out the brokenness of our humanity. May we all allow God to come into our life through prayer and focus on His will rather than our own.